appreciate that. I just had the best dinner. It was so good that it made me want to slap my mama. What's the name of the place? Firella's. You ever heard of that? If you haven't gone there, you owe it to yourself to go. I think I have to drive up here once a month just to eat there. But it was so good. But I'm also sleepy. Whenever black people eat, they're ready for a nap right after the meal. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to kind of start at the top and work my way down. Then I'll take some questions and answers from you. I am on a campaign to stop Obama's socialist change campaign. I want to give you an example of what socialism looked like right here in this country. You don't have to go to Canada to find it, or England. It's right here in Europe, but it's here in America. 50 years ago, the government came in and they said to black people that we're going to take care of you. You know, slavery has impacted your life. The white man is trying to hold you back. Life is difficult for you, but we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. But you can't have a father in the home. You have to take the man out. And for whatever reason, black Americans said yes to that. They took the father out, and the government became the daddy of the family, and the so-called corrupt leadership became the head of the people. And I have to tell you, it wasn't like that prior to the civil rights movement. I grew up on a plantation down in Alabama, right outside of Tuskegee and Montgomery, Alabama. And my parents worked that plantation, their parents, and so on. And we didn't have black leaders telling us what to do. We had the family. I didn't know anything about government taking care of you. We took care of ourselves. And there was a high moral standard then in the black community than it is now. But anyway, the government came in, it became the daddy of the black family, and the so-called leadership became the head of the people. Jesse Jackson, you ever heard of him? Maxine Waters, how about Maxine? How would you like to be married to her? Well, they came in, and as a result of government coming in and taking over, you now have 70% of black babies being born out of wedlock nationwide, according to the Census Bureau. In the state of Indiana, one state alone, you have 80% of black babies born out of wedlock. Virginia, South Carolina, 77%, and I could go on and on. But when I was growing up, that was an embarrassment to the black family. If a woman got married, got pregnant, became pregnant out of wedlock, she would have to have a shotgun wedding. My worst nightmare when I started dating as a teenager was to make a baby out of wedlock, because I knew I would have to get married. It was just not tolerated in the black community. And now they get pregnant, the man is out making a baby by somebody else and his mama, and they celebrate. They have baby showers, and the father's nowhere around. There's no shame in it anymore. The embarrassment of that is gone now as a result of the government coming in and taking over the family. Abortion, out of control in the black community. 70% of Planned Parenthood abortion mills are found within the inner cities around the country. I could tell you so many stories, and I write about some of them in my book, From Rage to Responsibility. Young girls, black girls, as young as 13, 14, and 15 having abortions just like that. And it destroys their spirit, and killing the baby inside their wombs. In some of the communities, for example, we were in Oakland, California, trying to shut down an abortion mill there. And this abortion mill sits right in the middle of 4 churches. And one of the churches is headed up by a black female. And so we went around to the church and said, hey, come out with us and help us shut down this abortion mill. And they said, oh no, I'm not going to do that. A woman has a right to do what she wants. It's her body. Who am I to judge? This is coming from black preachers within the community. They don't care about the people at all. It's about power and wealth. It's about the money. Another thing, and I have to say this, every day, over 1,500 black babies are aborted. Every day. In the last, since the 1960s, over 15 million black babies have been aborted. But there is no outcry from it. The preachers are not saying anything about it. because they want the people brainwashed, dumbed down, and demoralized. Because you cannot control a moral people, you have to demoralize them first in order to control them. So they want black Americans in that condition. Not all, but most black Americans are racist toward white folks. They absolutely hate white Americans. And we saw this in this last election of Barack Hussein Obama. You had 96% of black Americans voting for this guy. He supports abortion on demand. I mean, he is so into abortion, I think something happened to him. And I've interviewed over 400 black preachers on my radio show, and out of the 400, only 3 of them said they would not vote for Obama. The rest have voted for him. They voted for him. And the reason that they voted for him is because he's a far-left, liberal, godless, racist Democrat. If he had been a black conservative, they would not have voted for him. So when you hear them saying, well, I thought I would never live to see a black president, that's a lie. Do not believe that. Because if Obama had been a man who loved the country, who loved what's right, who believed in what is right, they would not have voted for him. But they voted for him because he's black first, and that is racism. And then white Americans voted for him out of guilt. You know, they thought, well, if we give these people a black president, then they will see that we're not racist toward them. And I tried to warn white Americans that that's not going to work. You can't change a person's heart by voting in a black person. You have to tell them the truth so they can see that truth and overcome. They need a new heart, not a new black president. And another thing that's going on within the black community, black on black crime out of control. Even the adults are afraid of their own children nowadays. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. I remember once I had to drop out of school because the males had to drop out of high school at a certain age to plant the farm, and then we had to drop out again to bring it in. And I remember once I wanted to go to school, and my granddad said, no, you got to stay here and plow this field today. Anybody ever plowed a field before or picked cotton? You have not lived until you pick cotton. Everybody needs to pick cotton. But I didn't want to do it. And my granddad said, no, you're going to have to plow this field today. You cannot go to school. And I was so mad. So I went out there, and I just angry. And the mule took off, and the plow ran over my foot and cut my foot wide open. And so I'm crying, and my granddad gave me a whooping. He was like, had you done what I told you, this wouldn't have happened. So I had a whooping and a sore foot. Because they were serious about what they were doing to get us to do the right thing. Where now that the fathers are not there, the mothers can't handle the children, and most of these, especially the black mothers, they're angry anyway because the fathers are not there to help them with the children, and it's hard for a mother to raise children by themselves. And so they're passing their anger on to the kids. The kids are now disrespecting the elderly, and it is absolutely out of control. These kids are committing crimes first because they are angry at their parents. They're hurt because the fathers are not there, and they're angry at the mothers for passing on their anger to them. But they have not been told how to overcome that. They're telling them that it's racism that's holding you back. So they're not dealing with the core of the anger, the real anger that's there. They're using it for their own personal gain. It wasn't like that prior to that. Socialism. If you want to know what it's going to look like if Barack Obama and this administration get what they want as far as this socialized healthcare plan, go to any county facility in this country. Go to a county hospital and see what goes on. In Los Angeles, there's a hospital called Dr. Martin Luther King Hospital. It was in South Central LA. And I remember when they first built that hospital, black Americans were proud of it. Wow, this is really great. Within a 10-year period, that hospital turned into a ghetto. I mean, the service was bad. People were dying in the hallway. I mean, just absolute bad attitudes. It's like going to the post office. Do you ever have to go to the post office? Whenever I go to the post office now, I look for an Asian person at the window because these black people have grown up there. They've been there since little kids, and their attitude is just off the wall. I mean,